Thanks for joining us here in the Monsters in the Morning on Comcast SportsNet. I'm Dan Jiggetts alongside my partner Mike No.
Hello, Danny.
And he's the publisher-in-chief of Bear Report and a regular contributor to the Monsters in the Morning.
And very happy
John
today.
Crist once again with us. Yeah, very chipper today.
Yes, I'm very chipper. I didn't have to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning covering games, so I'm in a great mood.
Now, I
Absolutely.
understand, too, that you've got big plans coming up for the holidays.
Big
right?
plans, yes. Mrs. Bear Report is hosting the whole family. We got people coming up from Florida, people coming over from Indiana. I don't know if we have the room for it, but we're going to have 10 people, and she's cooking the whole schmear, and I'm in charge of football in the bar. I can handle that.
There you go.
Now, we're going to stay at home, but Mrs. Sporting News invited us out. And I said, you know what, we've already been invited by Mrs. Chicago Tribune and the Tyree Mrs. Sometimes, but we're going to stay home.
Mrs. Monsters in the morning.
Yeah, Mrs. Fine, there's the word fine and stuff like that. But you know what? You had to be in a better mood this morning when you woke up.
Yes.
Because really there was no issues, whether you win or lose, John. It was a nice, clear, and you saw some players perform yesterday, and you're saying to yourself, man, how do they do it? How do they get it done?
Yeah, we watched a couple of very impressive football games last night and learned, just how arrogant a guy like Bill Belichick
There's no
can be
question.
from time to time. But I tell you what, as bad as it's going for the Bears right now, I think I'm a little bit encouraged for this coming Sunday night because I have no idea what Andy Reid is doing with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Neither does
You got
Andy.
a guy like Brian Westbrook, one of the best all-around backs in the league. You're giving him 5, 6, 7 carries a game?
No, here's the thing, though. I can't figure
get
out.
it.
I can't figure out if he's 100% healthy because every time
Andy Reid or Brian Westbrook?
Westbrook is never healthy.
Every time
He's
you watch a
always
Philly game, I mean, they're picking
He's
him up off the
always hurt.
carpet and dragging him out somewhere.
The guy plays hard. He doesn't take a break, but when
Yeah.
he takes a break, it's because he's hurt.
Yeah, he missed last week. He had his dome, his bell rung,
He also hurt his head.
and he's got a concussion. So maybe that's the reason why.
But still, I mean,
if you're going to play him, though, if he's okay to play 5
If you're going
plays.
to play him, you got to give him the ball because this is a guy who's played hurt his entire career and still found a way to be productive. I mean, he's one of those warriors. He gets shot up, he goes out there and he does his job. And they got LaShawn McCoy, who's a good-looking rookie from Pittsburgh. Get him in the ball game. I think he had 1 carry yesterday.
What
I
happened
just
to
don't
Michael Vick?
understand it.
Remember, this was
obviously
going to
a
be
waste of time.
unbelievable, stupendous, tremendous, unbelievable.
The
He's going to be
ultimate
all over the
wildcat
field.
quarterback.
He's going to throw a
Seems to me-
wildcat, nothing.
It seems to me like one thing they try to do with Michael Vick is they don't want any controversy. And I've never heard anything negative from Donovan, but it seems to me that that's one of the things
They act like if he plays, he's going to start a dogfighting ring at the 50-yard line. Play the guy.
Yeah.
How do you not play him more than 1 or 2
You have
plays?
a talent like that, and you can put him in a wildcat formation.
Yeah.
It just makes a lot of sense.
You would think so, but number one, I think you have to give a little more credit to the Wildcat itself because, like, when the Bears are practicing it, I mean, I asked Ron Turner about this. He practices it like 1 or 2 snaps per day.
Of course he does.
Why are you calling it on game day? You obviously haven't perfected it. The Dolphins, it's a major part of their offense. They're probably spending 15-20% of their offensive practice perfecting it.
I've seen it all
I don't
over
think
the league.
the Eagles want to do that, but you also have to take into account if you want to use Michael Vick, you got to take Donovan McNabb off the field, and he's obviously your best player. I don't know if you want to do that.
Well, you do if there are situations where you want to run the ball.
Sure there are.
I mean, and and you still have the opportunity to throw the ball with a guy like Michael Vick. But
I agree.
I think that there are times when you want to save Donovan, maybe not put him in a tough spot.
My Sports Illustrated, I'm reading that they took a poll of the players. Who's the most dangerous return man in the game? Overwhelmingly, Devin Hester.
Devin Hester.
Sure.
And he did not. He's not even back on kickoffs. But 2 years ago, when they said they should institute, they didn't call it. I didn't call it the whack. I just direct snap it to Devin Hester. Why not? I think the Eagles can state a case. They have a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback where the Bears don't. So why wouldn't you take Jay Cutler off the field a couple times or him? I don't know if Jay's too proud to play wide receiver. If that would, I know this
As a matter of fact,
issue.
in the Wildcat, he splits out, doesn't he?
Yes, it depends.
When have they
It
done it
depends.
last?
They did it.
They've done it a couple
the
times.
other night. I think
they've done it.
Out of all the games
They've
they've
done it
played,
with
should
Devin
be
a
done
couple
more.
times.
They split him out wide.
Well,
The last time they did it, Devin Hester had about a 6-yard loss.
I understand it.
I know they tried with Matt
It's
Forte
like the
once or
reverse,
twice.
whenever they run the reverse.
They actually did it with Forte and threw a pass in the preseason, but that obviously reeked of the kind of thing that you simply put on tape during the preseason with no intention of ever actually calling it.
I remember
What's
we
the
couldn't
result of that play, by the way?
There was nobody open, and he chucked it out of bounds into the third row. It was actually really smart to see.
I remember when we
Why
couldn't
doesn't number
throw
6
screens.
do that every now and
We
then?
couldn't throw screen pass. Now we're the best at throwing screen
Yeah,
passes.
you're right.
Yeah.
Number 6 should try that.
Yeah, you should try to chuck that one every now and then.
Hey, you know what? A game that I watched yesterday that I felt really good about watching it. You know, some games you want your time back, but I felt really good about watching the Bengals and the Steelers.
Yeah,
that was kind of like old-fashioned football.
That was a shot across the bow by the Cincinnati Bengals saying we're in charge now.
Yeah.
Sorry, we've beaten you twice. You're all talk.
Beat them like a drum. Beat the Ravens twice.
Right,
yeah.
and you know what? I don't know when they're gonna. Now Terry Bradshaw is saying that. I know he said there was no way Cincinnati was going to win. He was embarrassed.
I got 4 rings. That's
well, but basically he's mad now because when they lose, why did we get away from what we do? Yet there's a quarterback in that system that's won 2 Super Bowls. He's not even 28 years old yet. So I think that Tomlin knows what he's doing, but Mendenhall's very good. They got to start using him a little bit.
Well, you imagine a guy like him right under our noses here and slid out to become the #1 pick. Of the
that's a yearly
announcement. I was looking at guys too, like Mark. By the way, Mark Colombo got hurt again.
Yes, he did.
Unfortunately for him. But you look at some of the other guys like the Ryan Dams of the world from Northern Illinois. Because let's think about linemen.
Sure.
Because when you look at what the Bears really need, they could use some of those guys. And those guys are like 4th-round picks. 3rd, 4th-round picks. It's a shame that they hadn't paid more attention to that in the draft.
Well, you know what?
They really haven't.
You have injuries. How about yesterday, Orton and Benson both getting hurt at the same time? I don't think there's any purple drapery being hung up at Hallis Hall about that situation. But those 2 guys who've been making headlines regularly get hurt yesterday. So we'll see.
Let me ask you this about because again, going back to that Bengals Steelers game,
right?
Cedric Benson. They said he had some kind of a hip injury. Came back in, ran another play.
He tried to.
And he came and hit the sideline, and then they took him out.
Right.
It seems like there may be a little bit of an issue there. I don't know. We'll find out. We've got some audio a little bit later on from the Bengals camp. In regard.
What issue were they saying?
Well, Marvin Lewis seems like you know how just like when Cedric left the Super Bowl.
Wow.
People were kind of like.
The injury should not have been severe enough. People were saying that.
We'll see.
I think it was, though.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it was.
Yeah.
Because
but he ran that one play yesterday after going out, and it was obvious he was about 50%.
Laboring. Yeah. He couldn't explode when he got to the edge. He couldn't take it up.
Right.
Anyway, it's time for us to take a quick break here on the Monsters in the Morning. Jim gets caught up with weather and traffic when we come back. And then, of course, it's back to our discussion with John Crist, publisher of The Bear Report. He is Mr. Bear Report.